So then let me be clear and direct in what he's trying to ask. Kendrick Lamar, They Not Like Us, did that become a pop song?
At its core, it is not a pop song, but it was number 1 on the pop charts. That is not a pop song.
Exactly.
But it's not a pop song. He just said it's not a pop song.
At its core, but it became a pop song at its core. That's the piece that you're missing about this whole conversation.
So the Kendrick song, that became a pop number 1 hit, but it is still a hip hop song. Like, that is not a pop song. I don't think you're going to see that get nominated for a pop Grammy. It'll get nominated for Song of the Year. I think it won, actually. And it'll get nominated, of course, for Hip Hop Song of the Year. But that's not a pop song. Like, this, it's just the elements are too different.
Say that part again. It's not a pop song.
That's not a pop song. Like, you won't hear that on the pops. You might hear the pop stations because of the payola.
It was number 1 in pop music. So I don't know what you want to say from that. But here's my real question. It's your boy, SoSo Juv, and we in the building. And welcome to another episode of the My 5 Cents podcast. Let me go ahead and introduce the cast of characters to my that way. I got H.L.S.
Habitual last up in the building. What's up, everybody?
All right, and to my that way, I got the logical genius.
Yo. The logical one is in the building as always, ready to go.
And once again, welcome to another episode of the My 5 Cents podcast, the best kept secret in podcasting, the only podcast that brings on an illustrious guest and turns him into a credible judge. And this person that we have this week is going to help us in talking about R&B groups. We talk about male R&B groups, and our guest is a true force in the music world. He's an internationally recognized DJ, award-winning music professor, and a passionate historian of R&B and Black music culture. With years behind the turntable and in the classroom, our guest brings a unique blend of real-world experience and academic insight to every conversation. His upcoming book, The Quiet Storm, a historical and cultural analysis of the power, passion, and pain of R&B groups, explores the legacy of iconic groups like Destiny Child, The Temptations, and TLC. Please welcome to the My 5 Cents podcast, Amani Roberts. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me. Excited to be here.
Amani,
Thank you for joining.
Yes, excited to have you. So let me kick you off with the icebreaker, and that is Amani. What is your superpower, and how has it assisted you in your journey?
My superpower. I would say my superpower, we'll keep it to music, just be able to play the right song at the right time. And that's allowed me to be, a very, very good DJ.
That's a big power right there, a huge power right there. So you have this book, Quiet Storm, and you talk about groups like Destiny Child, TLC, Temptations. My question to you, do groups stay together, or it's just everything falls apart at some point?
Well, some of the best groups stay together. They might go apart and do their own things, but they will still come back together. Other times, the lead singer just kind of has to go on their own. So it really depends. I'm sure we're going to talk about some groups in our rankings, but it depends. And as we talk about our rankings, I'll explain why I consider some of these groups the best groups, because they stay together. There's one of my favorites, which stayed together for 6 decades, which is a record that had never been done before. So it depends, but more often than not, groups will break up because of money issues with the label primarily, and then drugs, and sometimes members of the opposite sex.
Fair. Jermaine Dupri was on a podcast recently where he said the best R&B group of all time was or is New Edition. Now, I understood the argument, but I don't know if I agree. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, someone sent that to me. I understand where he's coming from, because like all of them between BBD, Johnny Gill, Ralph Tresvant, Bobby Brown went platinum, had massive sales.
Yeah.
But no one from BBD has won a Grammy yet. That's one thing right there. And I'm partial. Kind of on my list is like the Isley Brothers because they've had hits in 6 straight decades.
Yep.
They're one of the most sampled groups in hip hop history, and I kind of might put them a little bit above New Edition. I love them both, but they would have an argument. I'm trying to think who else might have an argument. Maybe the Temptations too, although they were kind of a little bit earlier. Yeah. So that's my response to what Jermaine Dupri. I understand what he was saying.
Yeah.
I just might have a nice, healthy debate with him too.
Yeah. I think Earth, Wind, and Fire belongs on that list.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Even the Gap Band. I think.
Yeah. I mean, the Gap Band is a good story because Charlie Wilson, the primary singer from the Gap Band, and they didn't really own a lot of their publishing early on, so he gets most of his money nowadays from Charlie Wilson. Like the Gap Band has had legendary songs that have been played for years in movies and stuff, but he don't really earn too much money from that. He earns it from his current stuff. But his story of redemption is one of my favorites. There's an autobiography of his that's phenomenal. So I love Charlie Wilson. Uncle Charlie.
Let me ask you. You mentioned the Isley Brothers. I think this came up in a previous episode. I can't recall which one. But are they, I mean, of course you are recognizing them as a group, but how many people do you actually have to have in a group to consider it a group?
2 or more is my criteria. 2 or more, because if you look at history, one of the most famous duos, Sam and Dave, like they were a duo, they did well. That's probably one of the most notable ones. I think 2 or more counts. Most of the time you'll get some will at least have 3. But I think 2 or more works. The Isley Brothers had a lot of like instrumentalists, some background singers. Then they had the little fracture where they were Jasper, Isley, Jasper. But that's a great group right there. That's a great group.
Amani, in 2025, are R&B groups obsolete? Are they dead?
So they are not dead. They just don't get the publicity like they once did. Like I think we got some groups out now. In addition, we're always going to consider like the legacy groups. Like you'll still see SWV on tour. You'll still see New Edition, Jodeci, even Mint Condition. All these other groups will still tour.
And Vogue is still on tour.
Yeah. Vogue, yes, they just have different members. They have different members. Now, for the newer groups, it's a little tougher. You have groups like Flow. I think they're from the UK. You'll have like Wanye Morris's, his sons have a group that's kind of creating some buzz. You'll have Century with an S. They're doing well. But if you just look at history, like if we take a week in July in like 1997, like there were in the Billboard Hot 100, 14 of the top 20 hits on this specific week were R&B groups. If you fast forward 1 decade to 2007, 12 of the 20 top 10 hits were hip hop groups. So you can see how they've just kind of faded from relevancy. And there are other factors in there that caused R&B groups to kind of lose their visibility. Like if you think growing up, you remember we had Ebony Magazine, Essence, Jet, and Vibe. Those are all out of circulation except for Essence. And at its peak, they had like maybe 8,300,000 monthly subscribers. That's down to less than 1 million. Wow. It was 8,300,000. Then there's other factors like we used to have the Arsenio Hall show. That went off like mid 1990s, 1994, I think. No More, or 97. I got to remember the dates. And then In Living Color. That went out like 8 days after that. No more of that. Then you also think about like cable, like we used to have Video Soul, Donnie Simpson, Video Soul, BET. No more. And so the challenge is that nothing is replacing these shows. And so it's just kind of faded away. And nothing replaced it, so you stopped seeing as many R&B groups in the public as much, and as a result, they faded. Sales dropped. They dropped from relevancy, even though they're still around.
You feel like it's the same thing with boy bands as well? Because my goddaughter, I don't know where she got this from, but she loves K-pop. Yeah, and she went to a K-pop concert not too long ago, and she, according to her mom,
is big. It's not. Everyone listens to K-pop now. I feel like in this newer generation, like it's the thing now. My nieces are the same.
Yeah, so K-pop proves to all of us that groups still work. They still work very well. And K-pop copies the exact same formula that R&B groups came up on. For example, if you look at like a Blackpink, their video, their style, that's just like TLC. We're looking at like a mirror of TLC.
Mhm.
If you look at like BTS, especially some of their videos early on, look just like New Edition, particularly the If It Isn't Love video. Like, so they're copying the blueprint and they're proving that groups still work. It's just that they have such strong followings amongst their home countries, most of them like South Korean.
Yeah.
And it's just transferring internationally and it's working. So my question is, why can't R&B kind of duplicate that roadmap? But that's kind of a different conversation for a different day.
But let's talk about that, because that's my question, right? Because the book that you wrote, The Quiet Storm, that's you based it on a thesis you wrote in college, right? And you wrote it on why are there no longer R&B groups, right? Is it the genre that's dying or gone or no longer interested? I don't want to say dying because I still love R&B, but is it the genre that's fading away and being like integrated into pop? Like everything is just pop now, right? Or is, I mean, I know there's still some R&B like individual artists, not just groups out there that, but I don't know. Is the audience for R&B, like true R&B or pure R&B, however you define that, still there? Like in the younger generation, outside of the older generation that grew up with it?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's just you just see the groups less. Like for example, Silk Sonic, R&B group, they did very well. They won Grammys, platinum albums, so they tapped into the younger audience and the more seasoned audience. We don't want to say old, more seasoned audience, and they did well. So it's just there. It's just that back when R&B was in its heyday, mid '90s, that's probably the golden era of R&B groups. EDM was still kind of coming up. Now you have such strong EDM genre and you have all these subgenres. Now you have the emergence of like Latin music and all the Latin genres. Now Afro beats. So there's like so many other different genres now that the listeners' loyalties are kind of divided and they're fractured, whereas R&B kind of dominated. Because if you look, like rock music is suffering the same fate. Rock groups are suffering the same fate. Even pop groups, boy bands, pop groups, not so much. Like there used to be so many: NSYNC, Backstreet Boys. We can go back in the days. They're going away too because there's so many other different genres to choose from. But particularly for R&B groups, you no more mom and pop record stores. That's where we used to go to listen to music, to see the artists. Like it's gone from its peak of maybe in the US like 9,100 record stores, dropped down to about 4,500. And as of 2023, it's only 2,300. That's a dramatic drop. Now, of course, technology has a lot to do with that, but that is where primarily in the community, when I grew up, East Coast would be the Wiz, back in the day, Waxy Maxy, Tower Records. Like none of those stores are there. Even the big box stores, Amoeba Records, not really so much anymore. And they don't really sell music in like a Best Buy or those electronic stores.
Target or Walmart,
very
something
different.
like Walmart. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then we know R&B groups, R&B in general, the whole album tells a story. You get a Babyface album or a Keith Sweat album, you have the prelude, you have the interludes, you have the postludes, but our ways of listening to music has changed, or you can just buy one song, you don't need to buy an album. So that's changed. And then we talk about the Telecommunications Act of 1996. It's supposed to diversify radio. I can be in Las Vegas, Chicago, New York, Miami. You're generally going to hear the same songs on the radio station because it's all playlisting formats. Whereas we know Boyz II Men grew up out of Philly, Destiny's Child grew up out of Houston, TLC out of Atlanta. They grew up regionally first and then blew up out across the country. That can't happen much anymore if you're on a playlist thing. So even Shy, you think about the group Shy. I went to Howard University. They were on WPGC home jams. That's how they first got their start. And so that doesn't happen anymore. I mean, I could go on, but those are some top level reasons right there.
You mentioned, and SoSo Juv and I had an argument, and SoSo Juv, please, I know what you're about to say. So if you want to chime in, you could chime in. You mentioned all these other genres of music: pop, Afro beats, R&B. Once a song becomes a mainstream success, huge success, does it now leave that original category of an EDM song, an R&B song, and now it's just all pop music?
I would say it will always have your originating genre, but it will then cross over onto different charts. Like we have the R&B charts. That's still a thing. So you'll see, and on purpose, when I talk about Billboard Hot 100 hits, I'm talking about the overall charts that has every genre: country, hip hop, pop, rock, R&B, because that just shows you the power of R&B. So it'll always lay then R&B, but then it'll cross over to different charts. There was a research I was doing, and then it'll also cross over charts in different areas of the world. Like I think I was doing research on Whitney Houston, "I Will Always Love You." That's one of the only songs in history that charted #1 in every country that Billboard had a chart in. That's just rare. So what you'll see is like maybe a song will hit #1 on R&B, and then it'll get up to like 17 in the overall Billboard Hot 100 charts. So it'll cross over, but not as high. Whereas back in the day, it'll be #1 R&B, #1 the regular charts, and all those. So I think it'll always keep its originating genre, but then it will cross over based on crossover popularity, because what'll happen is like you have the R&B urban station that'll play it. It'll get so much buzz that then the mainstream station will want to play it, and that's how they get up the charts that way.
So then let me be clear and direct in what he's trying to ask. Kendrick Lamar, "They Not Like Us," did that become a pop song?
At its core, it is not a pop song, but it was #1 on the pop charts. That is not a pop song.
Exactly.
But it's not a pop song. He just said it's not a pop song.
At its core, but it became a pop song at its core. That's the piece that you're missing about this whole conversation.
So the Kendrick song, that became a pop #1 hit, but it is still a hip hop song. Like that is not a pop song. I don't think you're going to see that get nominated for a pop Grammy. It'll get nominated for Song of the Year. I think it won actually, and it'll get nominated, of course, for Hip Hop Song of the Year. But that's not a pop song. Like this, it's just the elements are too different.
Say that part again. It's not a pop song.
That's not a pop song. Like you won't hear that on the pops. You might hear the pop stations because of the payola.
It was #1 in pop music, so I don't know what you want to say from that. But here's my real question.
You'll have country songs. You have country songs that come on the pop stations, and they be #1 too. So there's so much blurred lines or blending nowadays. It's just so different.
Yep, exactly.
100%. So here's my real question. One of my favorite R&B groups out there is Day 26. I feel like they're one of the most underrated R&B groups that are out there. Their lack of success, was it the bad boy curse or was it something else?
I think their lack of success was just not enough volume of albums and hits. Like when you look at the criteria for like how I rated the songs, like, #1, well, Billboard Hot 100 hits just can be anywhere in the 100, record sales, Grammy nominations, and then notable performances. Day 26 wasn't around long enough. I think they had maybe 2, maybe 3 albums. And so how many albums they have?
Three now and a couple of EPs.
Okay. And so when we look at like some of the most famous and successful groups, particularly R&B groups, they had 4, 5, 6 like strong albums. They might have had one before, and they probably popped off like 2. They had 2, 3, 4, probably really strong. 5 could have been successful, then they kind of faded away. But you look at like TLC, I think they had like 3 mega albums, then one kind of faded away. I just think it's a lack of volume of hits for Day 26, just lack of volume of success. And they kind of came towards the end, like they came in like the 2000s because it was they were part of that reality show. And so I don't attribute it much to the Bad Boy Curse. It's just that they were at that time period where Destiny's Child was getting ready to go solo. You had like Drew Hill, Jagged Edge were kind of on the downswing. And then, you had other groups like, what's that? Danity Kane. They made it because they had so many hot hits early on, but they suffered the same fate, and then they all went solo. So that's my opinion on Day 26.
So is that we were talking about this pre-show, right? Because you're a DJ, right? You DJ'd all over the world, and is that what R&B is suffering from now? The lack of hits, where it's like R&B music, I guess, traditionally is very emotional, right? Soulful music. And it's the problem that it doesn't get not that people don't enjoy it and just enjoy listening to it in general, because you can relate to a song regardless of whether or not it's upbeat, up tempo, or sad, right? But is it? I feel like nowadays we're in the era where every song that gets played in the radio or gets played at a club or a lounge is more like upbeat, more like party music, right? Is that what R&B is suffering from? Not to say that there aren't any R&B upbeat songs, but I don't know. Is that what
Yeah.
what do you think?
I think I think what it's suffering from is just like compared to the past, you don't hear R&B music on like regular pop stations or like popular
Hmm.
stations. For example, if you remember, I'll take two examples, like Boot Up by LMA. That's an R&B song. It took probably that song to be out 9 months or a year. It was already hot on the R&B charts to get onto regular radio. And that didn't
Wow.
happen before. It would be on regular radio right away. Also, you look at another song like Money Long, Made for Me. That's a major, major hit. It never really made it over to like the mainstream stations. It could stay in R&B. So now mainstream stations, they don't really kind of pick up on those songs, whereas before they did. Now they have a choice and they choose to maybe play some more EDM music. Now they're mixing in Latin
Hmm.
music. So it's less of a choice for the mainstream station. So there's less visibility. That's why I go back to we need like the Arsenio Hall show to get them on TV. We need like the In Living Color to get them on TV, even like Video Soul, all these different platforms that we used to dominate. We don't dominate anymore. So it's just less visible for the mainstream to catch on.
Yeah, because you have songs from pop and country who aren't up tempo. They're slow. They're sad. They're romantic, and they're getting to play on mainstream
Yeah.
stations and
Yeah.
charts. But so you can't say that people don't listen to these songs, like this style of music or the tempo of the music. So I think there is something to be said about like culturally, like it seems like R&B has been like kind of like pushed aside by these mainstream
Right.
stations or platforms or whatever, where it's not getting the play for whatever reason, not getting the play that it should be getting for some of these
No,
R&B
but
songs and groups and artists.
you'll see an artist like Teddy Swims. I think at a core, Teddy Swims is an R&B singer. You know, he might sing a little pop, but he's got that soul in him.
Mhm.
Now he will get a little crossover. He will get a little bit, but it took him a while because he was singing for a long time. Even
Yeah.
so, he's an example. But they will always pay attention. Look how fast that Not Like Us hit every chart. So they're still paying attention. Look how fast Silk Sonic would get onto all the
Yeah.
charts and everything. So it's like the right song at the right
Mhm.
time with the right publicity behind it or
Mhm.
virality. That's kind of how Not Like Us got big. Virality will make it happen. It's just that
That's true.
we have to figure out, and when I say we, I'm talking about R&B fans, how to continue to share in this new era where things go viral on TikTok and things. How do we continue to share these tracks so that they can become more known to the mainstream?
And I think it's
Just
time
gotta
for
make
us
a
to
lot more
share.
TikTok videos.
Yeah, I think it's time to share the next segment of the show. And Logical Genius, can you explain to our guest what's about to happen next?
All right, Amani. I think we established your credibility for our audience. You know your stuff. You know your stuff. And we talked about pre-show. We could go on for hours talking about this, right? What we're gonna do next is we're gonna flip it a little bit. We're going to do a R&B male R&B group draft, where typically SoSo Juv, HLS, or I would present our list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the beginning, and then you get to decide at the end of it. But now we're building a team. We're building an R&B group, the ultimate R&B group. So we're going to do this draft style where we're going to rotate on picks, and we can't pick someone who's already been picked. And by the end of it, we're going to each have our quote unquote super R&B group, male R&B group, and you get to decide, being our prestigious judge, which one of us has the best list.
Got it. Okay, who's picking first? Who got the first pick?
Hold on, Omani. Hold on, Omani. Before you do that, you know you're a DJ. You have this worldwide acclaim. You're an author. There's criteria to music. There's criteria to a genre of music. There's criteria, as we mentioned before, to like DJing a party. Like you have to know your stuff. For this show, there's none of that. You might choose me
Nada.
because I may look like I belong in a boy band.
Oh gosh, you might choose me because songs I pick are number one on the pop charts.
You might pick me to keep my streak alive because when we had this topic on female R&B groups, I was the winner.
Okay.
Whatever you decide, Armani, is completely up to you. But your first decision is you get to decide who goes first.
Critical.
All right.
First
Well,
pick.
you decide who goes
Critical.
first, second, and third.
And third.
First. Okay. We will let SoSo go first, SoSo Juv go first, HLS will go second, and the Logical Genius will go third.
Oof. I'm behind. Okay. Let's see how I can work it.
Oh my goodness gracious. The first pick in this draft, and I know who I want to pick first, but I don't even think they're thinking about him. So I'm going to go with the first pick. It's going to be Usher Raymond. There's a reason why to my madness. I'm going to explain it a little further, but Usher is number one pick.
Okay. For me, I need that deepness, that crooner, that smooth voice that's going to like set the tone of like that hit song that's gonna come on. And my first pick is Teddy Pendergrass.
Ooh, okay.
That's a good one.
Teddy P.
This is tough. I mean, Usher, good pick. Teddy, good pick. I'm gonna go with. I gotta go with Marvin. Marvin Gaye is my number one pick. His soulful voice, smooth as hell. Can keep it low, can keep it high. That's my pick, Marvin Gaye.
Okay.
Put your picks in the chat.
I will. So on the wraparound, because this is a draft style, I get the next pick, right, fellas?
Okay, this is a snake draft, so okay,
Right.
Go ahead.
Snake, let's go.
And they could be alive or dead, correct?
Alive or dead? Yes, we didn't say that, but yeah, it could be alive or dead. Number two, I have to. I know it might be controversial, but I'm gonna have to go here. I'm going with MJ, not Michael Jordan, not Magic Johnson, but the great one, Michael Jackson.
And just so for clarification's sake, how many members of our group are we picking?
Five.
Okay, good to know.
Five. Okay. I see your MJ. I see your Usher. I see your Marvin. For my second pick, and so when I'm thinking about my group, this is a super group, and I'm talking about these guys in their prime, right? Outside of the age, I just want to put this collective of people together. And I think you need, so I had my deep voice, but I think you also need the looker of the group. Someone who can sing well, but like there's not that many people that's going to be screaming for like, there's nobody screaming for Michael Bivins. No one's screaming for Michael Bivins.
Yeah, you're right.
But my next pick, who's a looker and a singer who can sing, and I think he shut it down on the verses, it's Mario. Mario's my number two.
All right.
Okay. Mario Lopez?
Mario from Baltimore. Let me love you.
Oh man, when I tell you Logical Genius messed with my list, he messed with my list. But it's okay. I'm going to recover. And at number two, we are going to go with Ronald Isley.
Ooh. Okay. Okay.
Ooh.
Ronald Isley.
Isley at
Ooh.
number 2. And I think you're gonna feel where I am now going with this, Amani.
Okay. Okay.
After Usher at number 1, Ronald Isley at number 2, we need someone to put it all together. And we did say this is a snake draft, so move your body like a snake, Ma. R. Kelly at number 3.
Ooh, all right. All right.
Okay. Kells. You got Kells and Ron. Okay.
I mean, they were together once already. You're contagious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
They shall let her up.
don't forget Usher. Same girl. Same
Different,
girl.
sounds different
Just pick
song.
up what I'm putting down, Amani.
Okay.
Again, with the group, right? Thinking about ultimate. You got sangers, you got the lookers. You also need that special, unique voice. That voice is like, it's like a one of a kind. It doesn't sound like anybody else. It's so distinct. Anthony Hamilton. I'm at number 3 spot.
Coming from where I'm coming from. Okay, Anthony Hamilton. Okay.
This is tricky because I feel like I'm flip flopping right now on this pick right here, my number 3. You need someone crazy. You need someone crazy in your group. And every group, whether it's R&B, pop, country, you need that crazy person. I'm literally, I'm switching at the last minute because I had this other person in mind. I'm going Bobby Brown. I need the crazy. I need crack bags jumping out of your pocket during a concert. Like I need all that stuff.
Okay,
I need that stuff. I need that. I need that. Bobby Brown is number 3 for me. I need that. Because we talked about it earlier. They eventually break up, and there's always usually one person that breaks them up. So it's gonna be Bobby breaking up. At number 4, I got Marvin for the soul, but I still need more soul, and I'm torn between this one. And I'm doing bias because it's one of my favorite songs. I'm gonna go with Bill Withers.
Ooh.
Ain't no sunshine when she comes. That's my boy. I gotta go with Bill Withers at number 4.
Okay. All right. Bill Withers.
I didn't see that one coming, Logical Genius. I didn't see that one coming.
That's my dog.
I agree with you. You need a bad boy of the group. There's always that one that stands out for different reasons. It's not because he can't sing. It's just that maybe he's super tatted up, or like he's the one that everyone's wearing silver. He's the one that wear black or something like that. This one, he is a threat to music today. He is an unstoppable force. For some reason, he cannot be canceled. You have to have.
I know who you're talking about.
I know you're gonna pick
Breezy, for sure.
That's who I was torn at with my number 3. I was like, which Brown do I go with?
You went Bobby, he went Chris. Okay. SoSo Juv.
Mm-hmm.
All right. At my number 4 pick, because there's a method to my madness, and we have R. Kelly making the hits for the club, and then we have the hits for the lovers, and this is for the lover in you. Babyface at number 4.
Oh, that's my guy.
Good one.
And
wrap it up, Juv.
To round off my list that I have at number 5, you need a strong bass. And there's no stronger bass than, I wanted to pick one person. They already know who, but I'm not going to pick him. I'm going to go with Barry White at number 5. But Michael McCann from Boyz II Men, he was close. He was close. But we're going to go Barry White, number 5.
And rounding up my list. So You have the dancer, you have the bad boy, you have the smooth guy. You need someone who could just sit, right? While the other guys might be doing a costume change or something, someone who could just sit, play the piano, little keys, while they get the crowd warm, have a smooth voice. And that's John Legend. John Legend in my number 5 spot.
Oof. Good one.
Last
Good
pick.
one.
Last pick.
Last pick. I'm gonna throw something in here. I had a pick, and again I'm gonna switch it up. I had that going on, like the looker of the group, right? The sexy one of the group, because you have to have one for each person, for each audience member. You need the quiet one, the crazy one, the wild one, or whatever. But I'm gonna throw a pick in there. It might hurt me, but I'm gonna throw in Michael McDonald.
Oh, I keep forgetting.
One of my favorite songs that he did is with Patti LaBelle. One of my favorite duets.
On our own.
Yeah.
Yep. One of my favorite English voice, but he can carry like a solo if he wanted to. So that rounds my 5.
Did you ever hear the story about Michael McDonald and the regulator sample?
No. What's that story? Tell us that.
Maybe I heard of.
So they approached him about using I Keep Forgetting for the sample for Regulate. They offered him $30,000. No publishing, no songwriting credits. He accepted it. If he had gotten publishing and songwriting credits, which he got later on, he would have made tens of millions of dollars. But he just took the $30,000 for the sample, didn't get that early on. He left a lot of money on the table. That's the story I tell my music business clients. Don't leave $30 million on the table, because and he said it on Questlove's podcast. He talked about it, and Questlove was shocked. So yeah, that's the story about that. That's just a lesson for everyone, because that song, one of the top 3 hip hop songs in history.
Yeah. Michael McDonald will not be handling the finances for my group.
Well, he knows now. He knows now. He had to learn a hard lesson, but yeah.
But would he have known? Would he have known back then? Because he didn't. I'm sure he wouldn't. Maybe he wasn't that into our hip hop. Like, he wouldn't have known that song was going to blow up like the way it did.
No, he would not have known. But a general practice, even back then, is to try to. Well, it became more known as we got past the early 90s to hold on to your publishing, get songwriting credits, which he did later on. Get royalties.
Yeah.
So that's another reason when I talk about why some of the groups broke up, is that they didn't know. Same as him. They didn't know about getting their songwriting, publishing. That's why TLC went bankrupt. They didn't own their IP. They didn't have their songwriting. They didn't have their publishing. They were only one of only 2 other female groups based in the U.S. history. Only 2 in history have a diamond albums for album sales. That's 10 million units or more. Wow. Now, TLC is the one of them. Do you all know who the second one is?
I want to say Diana Ross and the Supremes.
Not the Supremes. That's a popular guess. No, this is, and think of any genre in history. Female groups based in the U.S. with diamond album sales. Now you got to go country, early 90s.
The Juggs?
Oh.
Not, you're close. You're very close. You're right there. The Dixie Chicks. The Dixie Chicks. Yeah.
Dixie Chicks. Oh.
Yeah. And then the question that goes with this is, there's only one R&B group in history so far that has had diamond sales for an album. Which group is that?
I didn't think that was going to turn into trivia night, but
no, I would venture to guess it's the Jackson 5.
Nope. And the Jackson 5 never won a Grammy either, by the way.
Well, what was the question again? Can you repeat?
Yeah,
only one R&B group in history that has earned diamond status for album sales, which is 10 million or more. Who'd you say, SoSo Juv?
R&B group diamond.
If I could take a second guess.
Ooh, R&B group, not pop.
R&B group. Well, they're called they're R&B at their core. Who you thinking?
We're not doing this again so soon.
Boyz II Men? Boyz II Men?
Yes, Boyz II Men.
Boyz II Men, yeah, gotta be Boyz II Men.
I was gonna say Boyz
you're
II
right.
Men.
But that
Yeah,
just shows
the album 2. I mean,
Yeah.
one of the
Yeah,
best albums
legendary.
ever. Yeah.
But think, like, I was shocked when I did the
Mhm.
research. No Diana Ross, the Supremes, no Jackson 5, and like no Destiny's Child either, because they were in the era where
Yeah.
album sales were soaring. Not yet. Now,
Mhm.
Destiny's Child, if they do a reunion or something, they probably would get there.
Oh, probably.
Well, what we're going to do next week is we're going to have a reunion of these ideas as we get into the second stage of our show, which is the persuasion stage. So until then, this is our 5 cents. See y'all next week.